there's no more deflection. Everybody else is like, absolutely not. We will not be allowing this to happen ever again. Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of Beautifully Nerding. As you can see, I am back in the OG setup. It has been a while. There's been a lot of stuff going on, but I am back with my banners and my flags and my posters and my things. Before we get to the show, I do want to talk about awards season. Now, I am no film critic. I am simply a person who enjoys watching stories play out on various size screens. I am team Sinners Sweep, but we have already seen the crew be done dirty because I'm still trying to understand how Chalamet was even eligible to be in the award cycle when Marty Supreme just came out. Because I remember going to the theater, seeing the flyer in the coming soon area, and the next thing I know, the movie was out, and the next thing I know, it's winning awards. And I'm like, wait, it just came out a month and a half ago. So like, how does that work? How does that work? But as we look forward to the upcoming Oscars, Sinners has racked up a whopping 14 nominations. While I would love for Ryan and company to take every single award, I can't lie and say that I don't want K-pop Demon Hunters to take some too. That was a favorite movie of mine of last year. I will say that soundtrack went like quadruple platinum in my car, especially What It Sounds Like in Your Idol. Like, those were my like top songs for 2025 because I played them nonstop. Oh, they were so freaking good. Today, what we are talking about is the newest entry into the Marvel Television Cinematic Universe Extended Play Edition, all that. Today we're talking about Wonder Man. Now, Wonder Man stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen as Simon Williams. And with a lot of the Marvel TV shows, while they are canon, Marvel knows that not everybody is watching the TV shows. I'm sure that whatever movie he's going to be in next is going to yada yada him into that. Even if you don't watch the full show and you just watch this video to see what the hype is about, I'm sure by the time the next movie comes out, you will have some information and you will fully be able to keep up with what's going on. So I highly doubt that you'll be lost. Now, the show premiered on January 27th and it dropped all at once instead of week to week. And look, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm seeing a pattern where the shows with women and people of color, those with our leading people, just being dumped on the platform. In my opinion, it's a mix of lack of belief in the project and listening to the loudest outlier of Marvel fans who whine anytime a project isn't led by one of the Chris's or another straight white man. I'm not gonna say that, you know, all the shows have been perfect. You know, I as well have my qualms with, you know, Ironheart and Echo, but I can also see that there was little to no promotion with a lot of those shows as well, which also kind of led to, you know, people not knowing the show is happening, not having enough hype behind it. If you kind of can tell that the people aren't really seeming as interested in the project, then you're not going to necessarily put as much behind it. If you also don't believe in the project, you know, why would I put my money into it if people don't seem interested in the character? Well, how can we seem interested in the character if we don't even know what's going on? As I'm filming this part of the video, it is January the 27th. I assumed incorrectly that the show would be out by the time I woke up. I was very excited for like a, you know, a midnight or like a 3 a.m. premiere, so that when I woke up at 8 and was, you know, getting my day started, I could go ahead and watch all of Wonder Man. Disney said, that's cute. No, it is not premiering until 9 p.m. So I have not watched it yet. So I just wanted to get some of my thoughts before I even watch it out right now. And then I'll come back and I'll talk about the show itself. Because I feel like Wonder Man has the potential to be a really good allegory. And I'm not the biggest comic book reader, but from what I was able to gather from the original Wonder Man was that he was a superpowered individual who lost his memory, became a stunt actor, and then was able to become a full actor. Like, he remembered who he was, his powers and whatnot, Yada yada, superhero antics ensue. And so in this new series, Simon is an actor who is auditioning for the role of Wonder Man because it was one of his like favorite characters when he was growing up. But with everything that's been happening in the world of, the Marvel universe, the community is showing a lot of prejudice toward powered individuals. So Simon has to hide his powers in order to get the role. But like whenever he's in a state of heightened emotions, he has a lot less control and his powers are, more likely to slip out. And I think that this is an apt metaphor for, just being Black in America, especially being a Black man in America. The effort it takes to code switch and assimilate, just exist, let alone climbing the ladder to success within your career. Because the rest of the world is only seeing you as all of the stereotypes that they've heard. So I'm interested to see if and how this will be addressed in the show. But yeah, like I said earlier, these are some of my thoughts before the show because I have not watched it yet because it is, as of recording, it is only 9:15. So I have not watched it yet. With it being 9:15 and I do wake up pretty early, it may take me a couple of days. So yeah, I'll be back when I finish watching.
A few moments later.
Hello, I have watched the episodes. I am back. So I didn't know that the episodes were 30 minutes. I fully planned for them to be like an hour. I should have assumed that they would be 30 minutes. Who told me to assume that they'd be an hour? It took me maybe a day and a half. And it's literally because I started watching a couple episodes the night it came out and I watched the rest in the morning. So let's talk about it because I feel like Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, that is a beautiful man right there. Yeah, gotta give it to him. He does have a lot of time where he is on screen by himself. Sometimes in times like that, you might think that like that's a lot of pressure of like owning the stage. Even his character, he says that the character has a background in theater, and like I'm thinking that Yahya does as well, because even when it's just him and the camera, like nothing feels wasted. It's a really good show. Just with his character, I'm very interested to see how we explore mutants, mutates, and kind of like the X-Men in general within the MCU, because like granted we have had mutates such as got Spider-Man, the Hulk, Deadpool, like people who have changed and now have like superhuman powers, like they're mutates. Whereas from what I'm understanding so far, it seems like Simon was born with his powers. There's nothing to necessarily say that something happened that changed him outside of maybe puberty, which is kind of the whole theme of the X-Men. Is like, here's this big life-changing event and also here's some superpowers. I'm very excited to see how this goes. I will say one thing that did frustrate me. Why are there previously ons on a show that dropped all at once? Like most of us are going to binge it and it's only 4 hours of content. So a lot of us are going to watch it all at once. And even if someone does take their time, they're probably watching it like an episode a day. You didn't forget what you watched in a day. Why do we need a previously on? Like you could have taken that out. It just frustrates me because it's just wasted time. And granted, I hit skip intro every time, but that's not the point. The point is it shouldn't be there to begin with. But that's really all that I can say without spoiling too much, mainly because I'm just really excited to get into it with y'all. The show is so much fun. I do first want to talk about some Easter eggs that I noticed, and I am going to be looking down because I'm looking at my notes. Now, I told y'all I am not the frame by frame breakdown girly. Okay, there are other people for that. I'm not gonna, this is this and this represents this and all. I don't know and I don't care. Like, go watch New Rockstars or something, because it's not my wheelhouse. I don't have that for you. But I did notice a couple of things that either made me point at the TV or made me ask some questions about the larger meaning of it all. There is a very heavy Josh Gad episode. Not only is Josh Gad the actor canon in the MCU, Frozen is also canon in the MCU because there's a part where he's like in the club and he's like singing one of the song, like the song where like Olaf is like, oh, like I love summer. Like he's singing that song, but like making it more like adult friendly and like in the club. It's random. It's funny. But I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like this got some larger complications because somebody even said something about Gaston to him. And I'm like, okay, so just the entire Disney products are canon within the MCU? Because there's a sign, there's like a billboard or something that says Ohana means family. And I'm just like, so if we're just introducing the entire like Disney animated filmography, I feel like this is going to have complications. Also, Apple TV is canon as well because somebody was saying that they like worked on Severance, and I'm just like, okay, hold on, this is too much. I get that, like, I'm sure this is a like meta commentary and all that good stuff, but I'm just like, the actors within the show and within the Marvel universe have other jobs in other TV shows and movies. So if you start introducing them as actors, then it's like, okay, so is ScarJo the actor like in the thing, or now is Natasha Romanoff an actress? It's too much for introducing as canon, and I can't get with it. That's a lot. I can't get with it. It is just, it's stressing me out because I'm just like, I know that this is going to have effects on something else. I don't think I care that much to where I'm gonna be like, well, actually, this person, like, I don't think I'm gonna get to that point. But the last Easter egg that made me laugh so hard. So in, I think it's episode 4, the doorman plot, and his catchphrase is ding dong. And I was like, that's random, but okay. Like, even somebody like in the comments of something that he's reading later even pointed out. I was thinking, I was like, ding dong Davis, like, why does this feel so familiar? And then there's a part where he's on a late night TV show, and the guy like gets a football and he's like, go long ding dong. And I was like, the game. That's where I know that from. Now, I don't know if that was an intentional Easter egg or if that was because he was a tall-ish black man. If you know, you know, because that was fully Derwin Ding Dong Davis, and I appreciate whoever was there and was like, okay, I got an Easter egg for the girls who get it, and they will get it. I got it. Thank you. Now that I got that out the way, I've gotten my feelings together. Let's talk about the actual crux of the show. I'm going to try to kind of run through it as much as I can without giving the entire show away, because I do still think you should watch it on your own. I think it is a very good watch. I'm going to watch it again, but I wanted to record this first. I definitely thought I was going to like maybe watch it twice and then come and talk to y'all, but I was just like, nah, let me let me stay on track because life be lifing. Simon is an extremely detailed actor who puts like his all into his characters. Like, he wants to build upon what he's given and make it like deeper and more intricate. Sometimes that can also be to the detriment of his own employment. And so in the first episode, we see that he's like changing a lot of things and trying to like flesh out the character even more. The show that he's working on ends up letting him go, and so he goes home early and he finds his girlfriend is moving out, and she's like, you know, he never let her in, so he goes to his happy place, which is a movie theater. Here he finds Trevor Slattery. They get to talking, and Trevor says that he's auditioning for the remake of Wonder Man. Simon is determined to get this role. Like, he feels like this is the role that he was meant to play, and honestly, I feel like he killed that audition. Like, it's Yaya, so like like we knew he was gonna turn it on. Like, as soon as I saw that he was Wonder Man, I was like, granted, I was gonna watch it regardless, but I'm set. Come to find out, the relationship that he's building with Trevor is actually a ruse, because Trevor got hemmed up by Damage Control when he came back to Hollywood. And Damage Control knows that Simon has powers, they just can't quite prove it yet. And so they blackmail Trevor to, you know, get close to him and figure out like what his powers are, and to get evidence for the DODC so that they can bring Simon in. But, you know, Simon and Trevor are bonding over their shared love of acting, and you can tell that Trevor's kind of getting some reservations about working to sell out Simon. And so we learn that the reason that people don't want to work with, you know, enhanced individuals, and I will say I do kind of jump back and forth between enhanced individuals and empowered people, because I don't actually know what the proper terminology is within the MCU, because I feel like I've heard both. So I guess we can use them interchangeably. Enhanced, powered, I don't know. And so within Hollywood, we learn that like movies and TV shows don't allow enhanced individuals to be, you know, a part of their projects because of, you know, something that happened in the past. And it kind of takes us a couple of episodes to figure out like what that thing is. But episode 4, like I said earlier, is the doorman episode. It's like essentially the entire episode is the background of the doorman doctrine. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. There's this guy, DeMar Doorman Davis, and long story short, he was the doorman at a club. He fell into some rock solid glue, and now he can create portals through his body. And so essentially he's like Cloak without the dagger. And so one day while filming with J-Gad, he is supposed to go through Doorman. He's been going through a lot. He's been drinking really heavy. You know, I think just kind of the mental state of having a bunch of portals inside of your body is kind of getting to him. J-Gad is supposed to go through, but he does not come through on the other side. And so he's like lost inside of Doorman. Everybody else is like, absolutely not. We will not be allowing this to happen ever again. And the doorman doctrine is introduced, and powered people are outcasted from Hollywood. And so we have Simon hiding a secret from the world, Trevor hiding a secret from Simon, and the both of them are just trying to figure out how to navigate what's going on. The show definitely follows the trope of, you know, this could have been prevented with a conversation, but, you know, now they've connected and nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings. So, you know, Trevor's just like, you know, if I tell him now, it's just gonna hurt him. And I'm just watching, I'm just like, how you think he gonna feel when he find out from somebody else? Like, that is like my least favorite trope of like, why would you just talk? But it's like, you know, how else will the show and or movie go on if they have the big, difficult, grown-up conversation at minute 30 of episode 2? So, like, it's not gonna happen. And so, Trevor helps Simon with his auditions, you know, helping keep him grounded when he's spiraling. And Simon really is cherishing his connection with Trevor, because he came into Simon's life, like, right as everything was kind of on a downswing. And Simon was really in need of some positivity. And we later learned that, like, Simon doesn't have a lot of friends. And it's really just because he has been hiding and dealing with, as he probably sees it, an ailment, but he's been dealing with, you know, hiding these powers for years. And so he's afraid to let anybody in, because he's like, you know, how can I let anybody in and see the real me when the real me is this, you know, ticking time bomb? But I will say that, you know, Trevor coming into Simon's life exactly when he did was some interesting timing, huh? And so everything does eventually come to a head when a New York Times journalist is coming to do a joint article on Trevor and Simon, their friendship, their roles in Wonder Man, etc. And we're watching Simon freak out so much because he's, you know, so afraid that the lady's gonna find out that he has superpowers. He's gonna lose his job on the show. You know, this was his big break, blah, 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 all this stuff. And Simon's freaking out so much that we forget that Trevor is the one who needs to be nervous, okay? But the journalist doesn't. And Simon is like, you know, she's asking some really good questions that I probably should have been asking myself. And like, Simon's brother, Eric, tried to pry a little bit at their mom's birthday party, and he was like, okay, so like, why are you here? Like, this was my mom's family and friends, and like, how long have you known my brother? But Trevor was able to deflect, and I was like, I peeped it. I peeped it. You're good, but I peeped it. Cause like what could Trevor really say? So you say nothing at all. There's no more deflection. Trevor tells him everything, and Simon is infuriated. So much that he walks off and destroys the entire filming lot. I do believe the lot is like the big like airplane hangar looking thing that like one particular movie uses for stuff. That's a lot, right? That's called a lot. He destroys that whole thing because he's real mad. Simon goes home and he's, kind of coming to terms with the fact that like life as he knows it is over. But Trevor had other plans. The entire show, the entire series, no one would let him forget that he used to be the Mandarin. And so Trevor's like, okay, well, since y'all wouldn't let me put the Mandarin behind me, I'm gonna bring the Mandarin back one more time, and I'm gonna take the blame for the damage that Simon did. And it's really because Trevor really cared for Simon, and he wants to see him succeed, and he's like, you're just at the start of this, like this is your big break. I've had my career, I've done my things, done some things I shouldn't have done. I'm not gonna let you ruin your life over this. Trevor gets arrested and he's sent to this like super high level damage control prison that we see like the first or second episode, and it's for like enhanced individuals. And even though like the main like case officer who was trying to catch Simon, he knows that Trevor doesn't actually have any powers, but like he can't prove that he doesn't and that Simon does, so they just have to put Trevor in there. Simon refuses to stand for that, and he is able to finesse a security guard into getting him access to the high security prison, and he breaks Trevor out. Of course, he's able to show off that he's getting better with his powers, because again, once you are able to come to grips with it, once you're able to accept the fact that you have these powers, that's when you can really learn how to use them correctly. It's not just a ticking time bomb that when you're mad, you just blow up everything. You can, subtly short circuit cameras, and you can, do little small things. And maybe you can do the one thing that I hoped that you could do the entire freaking series. Like I didn't want to get like too into the weeds of everything. Like there's so much that happens in the show. Like these 8 episodes are just so well done. Both Simon and Trevor show the different aspects of the actor, not even necessarily just acting, but like the positivity and the need for mentorship within whatever career field of like, you have someone who maybe has been in the field for a little bit, but is still like, trying to work their way up. And you have someone who is more seasoned, who has done more things and is able to, share their experience and their knowledge with someone else. Reach down. Like just because you got up the ladder don't mean you pull the ladder up with you. You help the people coming up behind you get up as well. And it's really good to see, Trevor and Simon having that relationship. Yaya, like I don't know how, but Wonder Man will return in Doomsday. It didn't say that in the show, but everybody else is returning in Doomsday. So Wonder Man needs to return in Doomsday. So yeah, that is Wonder Man. Definitely gonna watch it again. Try to see if I notice any other Easter eggs. If you've made it this far, you might as well go ahead and subscribe. Be sure to like this video and comment if there are any other shows or movies that you think that I should watch. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.